Greetings, dear friends. It's a great privilege for me to join your conference on mining from a far place. My name is Nnimmo Bassey. I'm Director of Health of Mother Earth Foundation, and we work on fossil politics, on hunger politics, and also on generation of knowledge. Under fossil politics, we look at extractivism, which includes oil and gas extraction, as well as solid minerals extraction. And so that's where we are focusing today. I want to congratulate you for having this conference, because this issue is something that needs to be debated, something that needs to be discussed, and political leaders need to understand the impacts of extractivism, of unnecessary mining on communities, on biodiversity, and on the lives of those who live close to coast or the mine pits. One thing I would like to say before I go further is that we've got to a point in the life of the world where humans have extracted so much and done so much damage that some of the mine pits, some of the locations, in fact most of the locations where places where mines are happening, have become irrecoverable. In other words, mine pits and mining are criminal activities in a certain sense. And this has been normalized and accepted as something that cannot be changed, and we have a duty to ensure that it doesn't continue this way. People have spoken about sustainable mining. They talk about mining that is not environmentally destructive, but mining is extractive, and extractive is subtraction. It is never addition. So the value of the environment goes down each time the claws of machines are sunk into the land for extraction. And we also know that capitalist development, which is mostly extractivist in nature, depends on mining, so that even minerals that are not needed are being mined. Think of gold, for example. The world has mined so much gold, but a whole lot of it, because of the artificial value given to this mineral, a whole lot of gold that been mined are just being locked away in vaults, in banks, as a way of storing value. This is all human creation, imagination, so fiction, pure fiction. The true value, if you want to call it that, without being unnecessarily economic, true value is in a safe, when you have a safe environment, and when you have an environment that is conducive for human life and economic life that is not destructive. Extractivist pathways driven by mining has been entrenched as a mechanism for colonial and neo-colonial plunder and for the construction of dependency. Because somebody says this is valuable, and then everybody goes for it, even when it's not useful and there's no utilitarian value beyond a certain level. And so we do believe that it's a time to say yes to life. There's a network with that name: yes to life, no to mining. Yes to life, no to needless mining. And time to recycle what has already been extracted. And even the recycling must be done in a way that does not aggravate climate change by pumping toxic elements and climate warming elements into the atmosphere. Now, I come from the Niger Delta, and this is the place where oil has been extracted for 68 years. The mining for oil and gas over a period of 6 decades, almost 7 decades, has brought total destruction to our environment. It's brought massive profits to the corporations and massive funds to complicit governments who depend on corporations to extract, destroy, and harm our people. Right now, in the age of climate change, there is the need for a just energy transition. But this just energy transition idea sometimes also backed by a massive need for mining. And so we've seen this across the world, in Latin America, in Asia, in Europe, in Africa, especially in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where so-called critical minerals needed for technological development needed for computers, for phones, and the rest are being labeled as critical. They are needed for renewable energy production. They are labeled as critical minerals in a way to lull our understanding of the harmful impact that this extraction is having. So millions of people are being displaced. Lands are being converted from being places of productive agricultural activity to open cast mining that destroys, poisons, displaces people, and in fact even exterminates people in some cases. And so in the Niger Delta, the pollution has been so bad that mining, has damaged the environment so badly, damaged the water, damaged the air, polluted the soil, some places up to a depth of 10 meters. This is absolutely terrible to think about. I've had the misfortune of visiting mining sites in many parts of the world. And the ones that really have very indelible marks in my memory are the ones in Africa, of course, because I live in Africa. In Ghana, for example, one of the biggest gold mining countries, in fact, Ghana was called Gold Coast in pre-colonial times and in colonial period, Gold Coast, because that was a place to, as though you're picking the gold from the coastline, but it was true mining. The biggest underground mining site in Africa is at a place called Obuasi, and right now it's a desolate town, desolate communities, poisoned with tailings, cyanide, and all kinds of dangerous chemicals. In South Africa, in some places, people are living in places where coal has been extracted over the years, and some of the underground coal mines have been on fire for decades. So that people could just disappear while walking on the field. You think you're walking in a normal environment, but because of the heat underground and the damage done underground, people are falling into sinkholes, sometimes very unexpected. The level of harm and degradation done by mining is so much that if humans would pause to think, all of us should agree that some places on earth must be no-go zones. Mining has sacrificed our territories, destroyed livelihoods, exterminated humans and other biodiversity. It's time to say that our territories must be off limits to mining. And in fact, we capture this idea in what we call resource democracy, where communities and territories have a clear, they have the clear authority to say what can be done in their communities, whether their lands can extract minerals from their land or not. And so we need this to be a global consensus that our territories are not to be sacrificed. Our peoples are not to be sacrificed. Minerals that have been extracted already should be sufficient for what men need for economic development or economic processes. It's time to respect our land and not poison our people. What would be the benefit to any government, to any corporation, or to any individual if you extract all the minerals, but kill all the people? We must say yes to life and no to mining. Enjoy your conference. I wish you very productive conversations, and I hope to hear more about the outcomes of your meeting. Thank you so very much.
Elikkä tässä Nnimmo Bassey puhui tosiaan kaikesta siitä vaikutuksesta, mitä on jo tapahtunut tavallaan niin kuin historiassa, koloniaalisella ajalla ja kaikista niistä kauheuksista, mitä kaivokset, voidaan sanoa sillä teknologialla, mitä se on aikaisemmin ollut, mitä se on tuottanut ympäristölle, erityisesti Afrikassa ja muissa kehittyvissä maissa. Bassey on kirjoittanut kirjan Kiehuva ja köyhtyvä Afrikka, Ja hän on sitä mieltä, että tämä nykyinen kapitalistinen kehitys johtaa siihen, että myös mineraaleja, joita ei oikeasti tarvita, niin niitä kuitenkin kaivetaan. Hän otti esimerkiksi kullan. Kultahan on tosiaan, kulta kiertää tosi hyvin, sitä on tarpeeksi, se ei ole mikään kriittinen mineraali ja silti Suomeenkin esimerkiksi halutaan tuoda lisää kultakaivoksia. Ja kultakaivosten sitten ympäristöjalanjälki on kuitenkin sieltä pahemmasta päästä, että mikä on tässä sitten järki. Ja hän tosiaan niin kuin peräänkuuluttaa sitä, että emmekö me ole nyt jo kaivaneet tarpeeksi, että meillähän on ihan hirveästi näitä metalleja ja mineraaleja kierrossa, että eikö tämä riittäisi, että aiotaanko me kaivaa kaikki ja sitten niin kuin pilata niiden ihmisten elinolosuhteet, jotta me saadaan nämä kaikki kaivokset sitten auki globaalisti, koska me tarvitaan nyt niin sanottuja kriittisiä mineraaleja. Että eikö olisi järkevämpää sitten tavallaan muokata sitä ihmisen tapaa toimia, ihmisen tapaa tehdä taloutta sitten planeetan rajoissa niin, että ei tarvitsisi avata näitä kaikkia kaivoksia, jotka kuitenkin joka tapauksessa tuhoavat sen paikallisen elinvoimaisuuden viimeistään silloin, kun se kaivos suljetaan. Ja hän korosti tätä, että erityisesti nyt ilmastonmuutoksen takia me tarvitaan oikeudenmukainen energiasiirtymä, mutta tavallaan toisaalta juuri tämän ilmastonmuutoksen takia perustellaan, että tarvitaan näitä kaikkia kaivoksia. Ja se ei sitten ole kuitenkaan oikeudenmukainen esimerkiksi globaalille etelälle. Hän otti esimerkkejä muun muassa Kongon demokraattisesta tasavallasta ja myöskin sitten muita esimerkkejä Afrikasta. Eli hän asuu Afrikassa ja on nähnyt, mitä Afrikan maille on tapahtunut tämän kolonialistisen, ekstraktiivisen toimintamallin vuoksi. Hän on kotoisin Nigerjoen alueelta ja sieltä on pumpattu öljyä ja kaasua lähes 70 vuotta ja se on tuhonnut sitten sitä luontoa ja ihmisten elinmahdollisuuksia. Eli hän puhui laajasti sekä niin kuin öljyn, kaasun, kivihiilen ja sitten näiden kriittisten mineraalien ja tähän vihreäseen siirtymään tarvittavien metallien kaivamisesta. Ja hän halusi korostaa sitä, että meidän täytyisi nyt hyväksyä, että maailmassa on kenties sellaisia no-go-alueita, jotka kannattaisi säästää kaivostoiminnan vaikutuksilta. Siinä ainakin minä ja hän ollaan hyvin samoilla linjoilla, että esimerkiksi täällä Suomessa niin meillähän on Euroopan viimeiset erinomaisen tilan vesistöt, kuten Saimaa ja Lapin joet. Että eikö tällaiset niin kuin viimeiset vielä puhtaat ainutkertaiset luontokohteet, niin eikö me voitaisiin tehdä niistä no-go-alueita. Ja hän vaatii, että paikallisilla yhteisöillä pitää olla tästä eteenpäin paljon enemmän sanottavaa. Ja Suomessahan meillä nyt onneksi tuli tämä muutos, että kunta voi kaavoituksella päättää, että tuleeko alueelle kaivos. Eli siinä kuntalaiset on saanut paljon enemmän päätösvaltaa.